And on behalf of all the trainees and all the whole lineage of people teaching empathy in this world, I would like to welcome you. Let's see, there's Sharon arriving to session 4 out of 5. We are recording this episode for teaching purposes. And oh, cool, Nadav is back. Good. We're bringing everybody in. Once again, a warm welcome from our ancestors and our children, hopefully benefiting from a culture of empathy where more and more people are practicing these skills, right, of presence and human connection. So greetings. We want to begin our experience today, once again, with some brief check-ins. And today we're going to be keeping it super brief because we have a wonderful agenda of lots of practice, as you may have surmised. We will be going into breakouts after this and doing, a good hour and a half of practice, mostly focusing on the process of leading an empathy circle. And you'll hear more about that in a moment and how we're going to do that. After we do our 30-second check-ins, we will be hearing once again from Lou, just responding to some of the questions you put in our feedback form. Thank you for those of you who are continuing to fill out and give feedback for this training. Your participation and your input is growing this training, making it more effective, okay? So after the breakout session today of practice, we'll have about 30 minutes to wind up and field more questions and learning. Okay, so to begin our check-ins today, I will call on you in the order you appear on my screen in Zoom here. And I'll be keeping time pretty closely today. We're going to go up to 30 seconds. So really briefly, if you have any questions or comments that you'd like to put out there, go ahead, put them out there. Or if you want to mention your empathy buddy call, how it went, maybe a little insight you had from there, that's fine. And then any brief or short report you have on facilitating an empathy circle. What happened? Was there a learning there? I know that's a lot. You can pick one of those for 30 seconds. We do want to move right through our check-ins today. Okay, so let's see here. According to my screen, in the upper left is the guy himself, Edwin Rutch. 30 seconds. How are you? What's happening with your circles and
oh, yeah, great. I was surprised here. Timothy and I are doing a radio show. Timothy has a radio show here on KPFA in Berkeley. He invited me to sit in, and we did it last week. We're doing it again this week. We're going to be talking about the political empathy and the political world, and really excited about that. Before the session, we were planning that and sort of spreading the word about more empathic connection on the radio. So yeah, that's it.
Cool, great, thank you. Okay, if I go right across the boxes here, I'm next. So hi, I'm preparing a little radio show with Edwin, and I love that. But the empathy circle that I started with my neighbors, it was the first time I couldn't make it in about 3 months, and the most people ever showed up when I couldn't make it. I don't know what that says, but a lot of people showed up. My friend ended up facilitating. But for me, that's building a culture of empathy, because the actual circle itself, the structures itself, get to continue with or without me. That was awesome. And I hear it went really well. We talked about agreements and stuff. So I'm really happy about that. Okay, that's me. I'm going straight across the line. Bill, brief check-in. How are you doing and what's happening with circles?
Great. Well, I have a great call with Eli, and I've been doing a lot of circles during the week. And also I'm trying to address the issues of how do you implement circles in various settings in schools, institutions and stuff. So I'm doing some work, and I put together a little, course on that. And so kind of beta testing it. So thanks, that's me.
Cool, thank you, Bill. Shoshana, what's happening with you in circles and learnings and stuff around empathy circles?
Yeah, hi, I had a great buddy call with Kian. It was really life-giving. And yeah, I'm really excited because this week Diane and I are actually partnering, and we are bringing the a number of empathy circles into, for me, it's a work setting. And I'm also really pleased because twice this week, my husband has stopped me when I was talking and said, just reflect what you heard.
Wow.
It really helped people in our house. He did do an empathy circle, Kelly, myself, our daughter, and Stuart about maybe a month ago, which was fabulous from my perspective. And my husband's really latched on to those principles. Yay.
Awesome. Thanks, Oshana. Okay, I guess we're doing all the trainers first. Eli, how's this week gone for you?
Oh, well, you know, I forgot I was at a circle on Thursday night and forgot that I wasn't supposed to be throwing out challenges, and I ended up derailing the entire thing, being challenging without meaning to. And so I had some learning. We're still resolving all of the things that came from that. So the learning will continue. But I'm glad to be here tonight.
Awesome. Good. Wonderful. Thank you. Lou, this last week. Empathy.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here. I'm so grateful for all of you being here. Love seeing your faces. I have started implementing empathy circles in my community by meeting with 3 people from a community organization and doing an empathy circle with them, so that they would understand what the process is like. And so I've done 2 circles with them, and they're very excited. And so I think they're going to bring it into their organization. So that's one of the ways I'm doing that in my community. And I also wanted to mention that Shoshana's thing about her husband reminds me that I was in an empathy circle with my wife recently. She was helping, me introduce a group of people to this. And I wound up listening to her, reflecting her about something that we talked about before. But she, because we were in the circle, I was reflecting her much more deeply and carefully than I had in the past. And she really thanked me for it afterwards. And it just reminded me that, it's very easy to slip into thinking, oh, I understand what the person said and I can give them advice or I can say my thing. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Timothy.
Thank you. Thank you, Lou. Oh, it's so hard to interrupt somebody sharing something so meaningful. This whole time limit thing of check-ins, oh, it's so frustrating. So thank you for sharing, Lou. We're keeping it to 30 seconds. Kian, you're next. How'd it go this week?
Yeah, I had a great call with Shoshana, and we talked about some pretty meaningful stuff. I really enjoyed that. And the circle I facilitated, I guess it was the first one that was sort of more challenging. I had to reinforce the rules a little more. And, the people who were participating were, it wasn't negative stuff. They were just, oh, I agree, that sort of thing. But, so, I was glad to be able to, I hadn't done that before. Just, no, this is the structure and we're going to follow that. So I appreciated that opportunity.
Cool. Thank you. Kate.
Um,
Oh, you muted yourself again. There you go.
I had a nice call with Sharon, and we talked a little bit about like how strict is it, even like how strict is the, like, what I call innocent listening, even amongst kind of empathy circle people. That was really interesting. And I ran a circle myself, which was really deep, but I still had one participant, and I had to try and be a little firm about the rules in a nice way, which was challenging for me.
Thank you. Thank you, Kate. Solid. Kelly.
There's a couple things on my mind. One, I've had for a while now, like a lot of interest in doing something related to homelessness. And it occurred to me last week that there may be a way to do some kind of like empathy circle for homeless people. And I'm not sure how to work on that, but that's just an idea in my mind. The other thing is, I keep not knowing how to get people to care about the format. Everyone's like big brain and feels like, oh, we should do something more in depth. And it's like, it's coming up in my circles.
Cool. Thank you very much. And thanks for everybody bringing up challenges and questions. The trainers are paying attention to what you're sharing. Kat, you're next if you'd like to share.
Hello. I had a good call with Cody. We're sort of comparing notes, so that was useful. And then in my personal circles, I sort of started to find a few more kind of key people that are quite interested, so that was good. But then on a corporate level in the company and the job I've got, I sort of found the Global Leadership Program are doing an event for International Women's Day. So I've got an opportunity to perhaps put that in the corporate culture as well, which is really good.
Cool. Thank you so much. Okay, Heather. Greetings.
Hi, everybody. I had a great call with Susan, and one of the topics we discussed a little bit is about how to choose a topic for the empathy circle for practice, and whether the participants actually care about that topic or not. And then a little bit about what Kelly shared, that having a little bit of challenge with people who don't want to follow the procedure, or I get it, that's the rule, but we're friends, we can be lax.
Cool, thank you. This is great. Susan.
Well, I really enjoyed the session with Heather, and I just love learning about people. And the topic for my circle was tell us about a success you've had at work or at some important project. And it really worked well, except people wanted to talk on and tell us all about it. And I had to kind of cut them off to see if people could listen.
Yes, yeah. Speaking of cutting off, oh, the bell. Thank you, Susan. Brandon.
Thanks, Timothy. Hi, y'all. Feeling a little bit drained and distant today as the energy that I'm bringing into the space. Had an enjoyable call with George this week. I enjoyed hearing a little bit about his life, getting a little look into that and what's been alive with him, and had an empathy circle with the person that I live with around some tension that's come up between us, and it went like smoothly. I was happy with the way that it went during, but then after, she expressed some disappointment about like where it ended, and it didn't feel good, the place where it ended. So that was interesting to like be in that with her, that discomfort that she was feeling.
Thank you so much. George, go ahead.
Oh. All right, I think my mic's off. Okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed my empathy buddy call with Brandon, and getting to know another person on this planet, and practicing empathy. I had an empathy circle actually last night with members of our community that hadn't participated in earlier ones, and I was a little nervous, kind of strong personalities, but it worked out well, and we had some great comments. And, we started out, whoop, that's my time. I don't know how to stop it, but thank you.
Okay. Oh, I always want to hear more from each of us. Deborah, go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, I had a great call with Nadav, great funny call. I've run 2 circles this week, very different. One was pretty much all female, and then the other one was all male. And I chose a really interesting topic for the male group. We spoke about risk, how it relates to us personally, society, and that brought up really cool conversations. I had the first group with the women, I had an opportunity to practice a bit more coaching, because there were some people who were quite new to empathic listening. So that's cool.
Thank you, Deborah. Cool. Thank you. Sharon, if you're ready.
Hi, everybody. Lovely to see you all. Lots of gratitude to Kate we had challenges to fit in our buddy call this week because we're both quite busy. So we covered a lot. It was fantastic. Thank you. And in Exeter in the UK, we've now got 16 people in our empathy circle group, and we've run 3 empathy circles so far. It's all going really well. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Sharon. Nadav.
Hey, hello.
Hello.
I didn't do an empathy circle this week. Was after a long day. I planned to, but it was a long day and I decided not to in the end. But I had a wonderful empathy buddy call with Deborah. I really enjoyed. And I had a question that came up for me, that how can I facilitate with another person who is curious about facilitation, but hadn't been through a course?
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. Thank you for that question. We're taking note of that one. Thanks, Nadav. Diane.
Hi, I had a great call on Zoom with Jane all the way from South Korea to New Jersey. And that was really good. We talked about different cultures and listening and how different people do it differently. I didn't do any circles this week. So I had some extraordinary things going on here. But I have next week planned with Shoshana to do some. And also I got a referral from one person who was in an empathy circle I did. Uh-oh.
Go ahead. Go ahead and finish.
She wasn't interested in doing it again, but she referred me to a friend of hers that she apparently told about it.
Cool, cool, thanks. And Greg, go ahead.
Hey, yeah, I did, again, I want to say, I appreciate everybody who's joining this in difficult hours, either early morning or late at night. Thank you so much. I had a great call with Kelly, and I have to say, each of my 3 buddy calls has been really kind of nourishing. I've always kind of dreaded them because I'm just too busy. I can't fit it in. And then after the call, I feel like, wow, that kind of fed me.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Thank you, Greg. And Cody.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've kind of been running around all day. I'm feeling that kind of just like running around and trying to find time for everything energy. Great call with Kat, especially speaking about like this kind of work in corporate culture, and even had a dream about that last night. So wondering if there's something there. Talked to another buddy about starting a men's group as well, and now kind of having that idea of like, oh, this could be a really cool modality to bring into a men's group. So yeah, busy, good busy.
Cool. Thank you so much. Okay, that's the bell. Jane, go ahead, Jane.
Hi, yeah, I had a great call with Diane, and I she said that it was a good opportunity for me to get to know more about the way of communication in different cultures, and also found also something similarity. Even I just had some kind of prejudice, maybe we have a different way of a communication, but the basic concept was, a basic thinking was not too much difference. That's what I found while I having a communication with Diane. I didn't have any chance to do an empathy circle this week, but I hope to do next week.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Jane. And Leslie, are you there? I don't see you on camera.
Yeah, I am here.
Great.
I'm sorry, I don't know, I'm having some difficulty with the video, and even with Kian's help for a moment here, we're not able to figure this out. But yes, I was invited into an empathy circle by Sharon and really enjoyed the opportunity to connect with some folks that she knew over in the UK. I had a buddy call with Timothy that was really, I hear people use the word nourishing. I'm not finding a better one right now, but it was something beyond that, actually. Illuminating, nourishing, yeah, affirming.
Yeah, just like totally awesome. Okay, sorry, I couldn't resist. Just, you know, but I know it's good to hear that. The timer just finished there. Did you have something else you really wanted to say?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
you.
I wish you well. I'm getting your camera up there so we can see you in the breakout room coming up here. And thank you. And now I want to make sure we got everybody. Anybody, please unmute yourself if we missed anybody for your check-ins. Okay. All right, wonderful, great. And so now we just want to take a moment, Lou, you heard some of these comments here with certain challenges, but also folks have been filling out feedback for each and every one of these sessions. A few people have. And so if you had anything to kind of add, this is this is called Lou's Corner, Lou's Wisdom Corner or something. If we do that.
Actually, this is really just responding to the feedback that you've given us. We were asking you for feedback, so we want to address the things that you're asking. So one person had a question about the depth of a reflection. So, is it okay if somebody appears to be feeling something, but they don't actually say that they're feeling something? Is it okay for the reflector to say, and it sounds like you're feeling this way, or it looks like you're feeling this way? The answer to that is yes. So, however, I would say that one thing to caution about is the reflection should be close to where the person is. So sometimes you have people that are very perceptive and they do a reflection that's very much deeper than what the person's actually expressing. And that is often experienced as analysis, that you're analyzing the person. So instead of feeling heard by it, they feel kind of judged by it. And so the rule of thumb for me is, that my reflection should be close to where the person is. Doesn't have to be exactly where they are. It could be a little bit deeper. I could maybe, if I see a little more than what they're expressing, I might say it. But you don't want to be way far away from where the person is. Second question was about how quickly to intervene as a facilitator when, let's say, something isn't going right. Let's say someone's reflecting back, but the reflection is off. How quickly do you jump in? And I would say, as a facilitator, you want to wait and see if the speaker tells the reflector, well, no, you missed that. You didn't really understand it, or you got this part, but you missed this part. And give them a chance to negotiate it, because that is part of the process of being heard. It's not expected that it's perfect all the time. There is I try to hear you and no, you didn't hear it. That's an important part of the process. But I would say that if a reflector misses twice, or they miss something very badly, and mostly I'm being guided by how I'm perceiving the speaker is responding. If the speaker seems really dissatisfied or frustrated, that's kind of the guide I use for when to intervene. Because the important thing is that the speaker feel heard. The only place where I would intervene more quickly is if the listener is doing something like asking a question or judging the person or something like that. Then I would say, well, you're asking a question. That's not really what we do here. I wouldn't expect the speaker to say, well, you're asking me a question and you're not supposed to do that. So I would do that as facilitator. The third thing question was about how to deal with strong emotions. So somebody who's expressing very strongly and is maybe triggering other people in the circle or triggering the facilitator. And I'd say, so the goal is to just reflect them back. So strong expressions of emotion are fine. Even strong judgments are fine. And the goal is just to reflect them back. If people in the circle are being triggered, including you, you can acknowledge that, provide some empathy for it, tell people that they will have a chance to talk about it when it's their turn to speak. They can talk about it. And if it gets too far out of hand, like everybody's really triggered and nobody can listen to anybody, then as a facilitator, I might ask the person who's speaking if they could do a different topic, or if they could express themselves in a more caring way. Or I might ask them to leave the circle. I mean, that's, if they don't want to do that and the circle can't really hold what they're bringing, then I might ask them to leave the circle. Not because they're bad, but because the circle just can't really hold it. And the last thing I want to say is responding to what Brandon said about having a nice listening exchange with his partner, but then it ending in a place that wasn't satisfying. and I'm assuming that maybe it had something to do with conflict resolution, like trying to resolve a conflict. And I want to say that, you know, the empathy circle practice produces understanding. It doesn't solve problems, and that conflict resolution requires mutual understanding and agreed actions. And it's that agreed actions part that's not a explicit part of empathy circles. So if you're doing an empathy circle thinking you're going to resolve a conflict, just recognize that there's an action part that needs to happen in order for it to resolve a conflict. Sorry, that was a lot, but.
Also, I wanted to just respond to Nadav's question about, you know, facilitating or maybe co-facilitating with somebody who hasn't been trained. Do the trainers have any thoughts about that? I mean, my initial thought is, you know, the process as designed, you know, there's one facilitator, and there could be somebody participating to learn and to study. That's okay, and just have that kind of agreement. I actually don't know if there are kind of co-facilitation designs for this, Bill.
Oh, sure. Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, Edwin, but yeah, we have co-facilitators all the time. And that's actually a suggested strategy. If you're not ready to facilitate, you can have someone who do the time while you do something else, or however you want to split it up. So however, that my impression, and this is just speaking for myself, is however you can really, you know, have a circle take place is a good thing. And if you need to share that responsibility, that's fine. Edwin?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. The process is simple enough that if you have the instructions, you don't even need all this training if you're just, you know, but it's just it's the issue of getting deeper, you know, and kind of holding more conflict. So people don't have to have had any training really to take part. And if you have the instructions and it's a simple, you know, circle without too much conflict, that should be able, anyone should be able to hold it, you know, with sort of minimal skills.
And I would add to that, something I do is I distribute the instructions to people who are going to participate. So I'm not the only one that understands the process. And that way, that's a way of reducing my status, you know, creating more of an equal status in the circle, is that, you know, I have more experience with the process, so I do understand it more, but everybody has the information about how it works, so they can yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate the intention that this process is about the process, not about personalities or particular leaders or somebody that's got a better window of tolerance or capacity. No. It's about a pretty simple and accessible process for everyone. Thank you, Lou, like reminding me of that. This is about the process. Thank you. Okay, ready to
add a little piece, please. Next time I do it, I will suggest that the speaker is there to give the listener an opportunity to practice. And so their role will be not to talk on and on.
Thank you. Okay, so we want to start moving towards the breakout rooms. I think Shoshana, you were going to take us there.
Yes. That was very helpful. Lou, Bill, and Edwin, thank you for those tips. So today we're going to devote all of our time, as much as we can, to breakout circles. We really want to give you practice and facilitation. We're not going to ask you to describe how the process works. We're pretty certain you've got that under your belt. So today, as facilitators, what you're going to do, this is speaking to those of you who are being trained, you're going to tell your trainer the challenge level that you like. You will set the topic, and we're going to do 3 minutes, 3-minute segments, and we'll deal with challenges. And so that will go on for approximately 75 minutes. And we'll take some time at the end within our breakout rooms to have like mini 10 to 15 minute breakouts, you know, debrief among ourselves. Then we're all going to leave those breakout rooms, come back to the main room, and we will have a 30-minute debrief all together in the main room. And that's all I've got.
Okay, I'll give a few notes here. Leslie's having trouble with her camera. I think it's okay if you're not able to get it, working. We just make do. Sometimes you can reboot, the computer, but that takes kind of a while. So you feel okay just going without the camera, Leslie?
Yeah, I think if everybody's okay with that, it's been distracting, and I'd love to just be here however I can. So that'd be great.
Okay, great. Yeah. Excellent, that works. And then we have a full house today, so we have one extra person, and Greg is sort of a floater. He takes different roles, so he'll be with you, Lou. So you'll have an extra person in your group to, you can co-facilitate or figure out something there. And I think we're ready. We're going for an hour and a half, and we have our 5 groups, and I think that's it, right? Or anything else before we... Okay, so we are going into our rooms now. And there'll be one group staying here in the weight room with Bill, and I'll be with you, Bill.
Okay. So will we have, oh.
No, they're leaving. There's just
this one.
5 of us. I think Jane will be joining, and I think should be, yeah, she's in room 3, but I don't know, she hasn't moved for some reason.
Okay.
And also, I just might mention, I'm doing the technical. I'm just sitting in on this, and I can be a participant. But this is sort of the weight room too, and people, if they get dropped off, they will be coming in, and it might be a little disruptive. I just send them into one of their rooms, back into their room. So I just want to give you a heads up. All right, I'm quiet now.
Okay, that's all right. Okay, so welcome, and today we'll be doing. You'll be running a facilitation. You'll pick the topic, and we'll go into it. Think about whether you want to have, from 0 to, or 10, or whatever you want as far as a disruption is concerned. I think, Edwin, I couldn't lock you out of doing a disruption. I think you're a resource here. And so decide, you can have little to no disruption, or, more challenging disruptions. And then Edwin and I'll rack our creative brains to figure out how to perturb you. You'll keep, let's see, we have about an hour and a half. That's good. So we'll try to go for 20 minutes a piece. That'll give us an hour. And then maybe stop a little bit to have a little debrief in each person's session, and then try to have the 10 minutes at the end of the session for this whole group to come back and debrief. One of the things that, just to be transparent, that I'm working on is managing that time. So I may have to do a few, tweaks, and I apologize for that. I'll keep the 20 minutes over here, and then facilitators will, do the 3 minutes warning and transition. Okay. Do you have any questions, or is there anything I missed, Edwin, do you think? Okay. All right. Who would like to facilitate first? Kat, Diane, or Kian?
Can I ask a question? You mentioned 3 minutes. Does that mean that we're set to do 3 minutes, or are we all right to choose between other times?
Well, right now we do, as a facilitator, yes, you can choose whatever time you want, depending upon the circumstances. But here we're saying 3 minutes because we want to give you experience in those transitions. Actually, doing the timing is one of the most difficult, nuanced things you do. And so we just want to give you experience, and that's why the 3 minutes. Does that answer your question?
Right. No, yeah, that does make sense now you said it.
Okay.
Oh, I can start then, seeing as I spoke.
Great. All right. All right. So you've introduced us. We know how to do the empathy circle. Just go with the topic, and then we start.
Okay, so the topic that we'll go on to today is gratitude. So that's the topic that we'll be following today. So who would like to be the first speaker? And Bill, I'll let you just go wild.
Okay.
Okay, so who would like to be the first speaker? And I'll be your listener to start with. Diane, are you volunteering?
Sure.
Okay, when you're ready, just go ahead.
I think gratitude is a fabulous topic. I think it's an antidote to much of what ails people, and it's something I've really cultivated for many years, and it's served me very well.
Yeah, so you're just saying that gratitude's quite meaningful to you, and it's something you've been interested in for quite a long time, and you feel it's something important to people.
Yeah, I'm very grateful. I have a personal relationship with God, and so I don't feel like I'm alone. I live alone in my house, but I have that feeling of being full and connected and all of that, and I feel so grateful that I have God to like guide me and show me you know, answers and help me with all different situations.
Yeah, so you're just saying that you've got that sort of gratitude for the fact that you live alone, but you feel connected to God, and you're bringing that into that there.
Yeah, it's really, he's the one I'm the most grateful for. And I'm very grateful for my children, that they survived to adulthood and they're doing pretty well. And one just moved close by me from very far away, from California to New Jersey. And I'm very grateful. This is really like a life change, lifestyle change, that I can get to see my grandchildren on a regular instead of, you know, waiting a year for a longer trip.
Yes, you're just reflecting about your children, how they've moved out away from you, but you're just reflecting on them and becoming closer to you, so you have a better relationship with your grandchildren.
Yeah, well, I'm grateful that I'm going to get to see them more regularly. And what I do is at night when I get in the bed, I thank God for different things in the course of that day that I'm grateful for. And sometimes they're big things, sometimes they're surprising, amazing things, the wonderful things that happen. And sometimes it seems like small things, like I'm thankful I had the wherewithal to do my dishes tonight and get into bed, or you know, whatever, certain things for the day. And then in the morning, before I get out of bed, I start there again to remember and thank God for the things from the day before I like kind of get the gear of the new day.
Yes, you're just reflecting on the day that you've had and how you feel before you're going to bed with what's gone on with the day. Bill, we'll just keep the chat quiet there because we are speaking at the moment. So we want you to follow the rules so that you'll get your turn and we'll be able to listen to what you have to say.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. So Diane, do you feel heard? Do you feel fully heard?
Well, this last part, I was saying that what I actually do is I thank God specifically for certain specific things that happened. I kind of count them on my fingers, you know, and then again in the morning, it's like a little procedure sort of thing.
Oh, right. So yeah, you're just saying you've got the process where you're specifically focusing on those things.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Diane. Okay, so I'll be the speaker, and Bill, would you like to be my listener?
Sure, I'll be happy to.
Absolutely. So I would just like to say that I'm grateful for your participation, Bill. You present some excellent challenges, and I'm happy to have you here.
Oh, so you appreciate me being here, and I'm presenting significant challenges.
Yes, I'm definitely expressing gratitude for that today. And yeah.
Oh, so you're expressing gratitude for the challenges, yes.
Yeah, totally. And I'm just reflecting on your comments because I'm interested to hear what you have to say on your turn. when you're the speaker, to understand more about monsters from the id. I'm very intrigued by that comment, to get some more clarification when you are the speaker next, after I've been the speaker.
Darn it, you cut me off. So you're interested to hear about my what I said in the chat about monsters in the ed, from the ed, when it's my turn to speak.
Absolutely, because that's something I quite find, I'm quite grateful for, my interest in psychology and how that's really helped me in my life. It's really made it a lot more interesting, and so I do love to speak about that and listen to about that, so I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, so you feel that psychology is a lot of psychobabble and doesn't have any meaning at all.
No, that's not quite what I said. I'll let you give another listen to that. So I'm just grateful for psychology, for the place it's given my life. It's been very effective in helping me to understand things a lot more.
Oh, so you're grateful for psychology for your deepening understanding.
Yeah, that's very good reflection, Bill. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So other things, I think gratitude is something, like Diane said, it's something that's very good for everyone to sort of use in their life more, to really be able to appreciate things that you wouldn't notice normally.
Okay, gratitude is good.
No, I was just saying a little bit more than that. So we're saying that, but we're also saying that we're appreciating its place in our life to make us notice things more.
Oh, so it's good to make you notice things more, and that's good.
Yeah, that's more. Yeah, that's good. Absolutely. So yeah, I think that if everyone practiced gratitude more, they would have a bit more of a positive attitude, and I think that would be very valuable as a cultural shift.
Oh, so you're kind of a gratitude junkie, and you feel everybody should have gratitude, and you'll get to decide whether that gratitude is enough or not.
That's not quite what I said. I think that you've put some level of judgment there. So we're supposed to just focus back what I'm reflecting. So I appreciate that you're listening to what I'm saying, but if you can reflect back the way that I'm saying it, then we'll be able to succeed with your reflections. So your reflections are good, but we can work more on that reflection there. So yeah. So I was just stating that it was just something useful for for us to be able to focus on.
Right. So the practice of reflection, it gets us into useful habits, and it makes us self-reflective.
Yeah, that's good there. So I feel heard there, Bill. Thanks very much. So if you would like to now be the speaker and select your listener, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Okay. So Edwin, would you listen to me?
Yep, listening.
Okay. So Monsters from the Id is from a famous science fiction movie called, I think, Lost World. Not the Lost World, I forgot, but it's a famous science fiction movie to which I cannot remember the name right now. I'll stop there.
So your comment about Monsters from the Id relates to some movie that you can't remember the name of?
Yeah, it's a famous one. It's like not Plan 9. No, it's one of those old ones. But essentially, these people go to this planet, and this explorer has been there before, and so he has his spaceship there, and it's they'd crashed theirs, and so he takes them in, and but there's an alien monster, and so they need protection inside the ship. I'll stop there.
Yeah, so the story is these astronauts, they go to a planet. There's already someone who's landed there, and there's a monster, and they need protection from that monster from the person that was there before.
Right. And so he starts off as this benevolent figure, but as they realize that he's more and more of an autocrat, then he gets angrier. And as he gets angrier, the monster gets stronger. And they realize that the monster is created by his id. And to the point at the end of the movie, it's caving in the metal spaceship, the monsters from the id.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're really excited about this. You see it is kind of humorous that there's this person. He starts off being kind of friendly and nice, but slowly he shows more of an authoritarian tendency, and his authoritarian anger is sort of projected out into this monster that's kind of attacking them, and the more angry he gets, the more the monster kind of grows. And
yeah, right. So at the end, you know, they realize is that he's the monster, and of course that's a very apt thing. I think of Walt Kelly, who did Pogo, and they talked about man's relationship to the environment, and the famous line is, "We have met the enemy, and he is us."
So it's something about we are the enemy and it's us who's the enemy. You know, it's our monsters, internal monsters are out there, and
right, which we project on other people, and then
okay.
and then we decide, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really about projection, how we project onto others our own
judgments,
judgments and monsters,
yeah, and you know, and then also, you know, yesterday, you know, dinner.
Sorry to follow you there. It's actually the end of your turn, so it's Edwin's turn now to be the speaker. So thanks very much for your speaking there. That was excellent, and thanks, Edwin, as well.
Okay.
Thank you. Sure.
Kian?
Yeah.
Yeah. Gratitude, what you want to get back to that topic? I'm not sure what the monsters have to do with gratitude that Bill was talking about. I'll kind of think about that for a little bit, but I don't quite get it.
So you're wanting to focus on gratitude, but you're not sure what the monsters have to do with that.
Yeah, Bill's monsters. There must be some connection there. Yeah, so I'm curious. You know, for the gratitude for me is, you know, sort of a sense of warmth, something I'm trying to kind of sense into. What is the gratitude? I know when we're in the full group here, I always have a lot of gratitude for everyone that's taking part, you know, like in the full trainings. It's like, oh, this feels so good. I'm grateful that people have that interest and that desire to take part. So I sense a sort of for me, that's a strong sense of gratitude for everyone's participation.
Yeah, so for example, you're grateful for when we're in the larger group, you're grateful for the people that are participating in this.
Yeah, and I'm just identifying one space where I have gratitude. And then the question came up, like, how does gratitude relate to empathy? Like, you know, the value of empathy and the value of gratitude. What is the relationship? And I don't have a clear idea about that. Like,
I was thinking about that too.
Relate? Yeah, do you have some ideas, Bill? I'd really love to hear some feedback on that.
Sure. Well,
Bill, you get your feedback when you're the speaker, when you're selected next.
Okay.
So just hold that thought, and if you want to take a note, you can do to help you when you come to your turn.
Oh, I was
Let's
looking forward to
carry on.
hearing his feedback. What you thought about that? But,
yeah, so you're wondering how gratitude relates to empathy. And you're also wondering what Bill has to say about that.
Yeah. And I wonder if it's that when we empathize, we sense into others, and there's a sense of sort of warmth and connection that happens. And gratitude is sort of an appreciation of that sense of connection and warmth. So I'm just wondering, I don't know. I hope, you know, Diane and Kat and Bill have some thoughts about that, because I really like to find the connection from empathy to gratitude.
Yeah, so
you're too, Kia. I don't want to leave you out.
You're really wanting to find the connection, and you're thinking that it might be that gratitude is sort of a product of empathy.
Yeah, it has something to do with the sense of warmth that gets created through connection. Like, yeah, there's something about gratitude and connection that happens, and yeah, so I'm kind of, it's a little vague to me still kind of thinking about it.
Okay, Kian, you want to finish that reflection on that?
Yeah. So you're thinking that it might have to do with warmth, you know, warmth and connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that gets
All
it.
right.
That's good enough for me. I feel heard enough. Yeah, thanks.
Okay. And I want to just call a timeout now, Kat, and see, you have about 5 minutes left, and see if you wanted to like do a little debrief on your session here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay, great. All right. So first of all, I just want to say that you've done this before and you handled me very well. You actually anticipated what I was going to do. That's a high. It was a high degree of skill, so I really appreciate it. How was the experience for you? And
it was a lot easier than last time with Shoshana.
Yeah.
not in the way that it was still challenging, but I felt more confident about it. And
Mhm.
also, given what you might do, I felt like I could anticipate, as you said,
Mhm.
and just feel more confident with holding the empathy for you, but also keeping others happy.
Yeah, other feedback from Edwin, Diane, or Kian for Kat.
Wait, I would like to ask, what level of disruption did you call that?
Would I call it? That's actually part of my learning curve here. What I'm struggling with is that you can have a very, I can go big, but the empathy circle breaks down. So I'm trying to play with that edge to push it, but keep in the empathy circle practice. And I'm not, so I don't know. I would say that sort of intermediate. I have a, maybe I'm kind of playing with that.
I could say for me, it's about a 2 out of 10.
2 out of 10. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Edwin has a lot more experience. He knows, he'll go. So, and
I still had to think what to say, so it was still a challenge for me.
yeah. And that's something that I'm just sort of playing with. I tend to go mild, I think. And I'm pretty agreeable once you correct me. So that's one of the things that may not happen in a regular. And then the question is that, okay, now I've become obstreperous, and, how long does that go on? And, and how much does that take away from the circle practice? So, yeah, Edwin. Yeah, sure.
I'll comment. I love the kind of heading Bill off with the gratitude. I'm so grateful for you sharing. I mean, that was like brilliant. It's like, I kind of do that too. I didn't use the word grateful. I don't use the word grateful, but I might, steal that from you. You say, I really want to hear what you have to say. It's really important.
Yeah.
And, adding that gratitude to it really, that's like really undercuts, any kind of defensiveness.
By the way, the movie is Forbidden Planet. It's a classic. It's a classic.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Okay. So we're
Maybe
doing
something from Diane or Kian about
sure.
that.
Absolutely.
I just really appreciated how Kat handled the interruptions. It was, I know last week I had some challenges. I was a little bit maybe too firm right away, and I appreciated her patience and also clarity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought she was very kindly the way she expressed herself, but she got the point across at the same time.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
Smiling the whole time.
I'm trying not to laugh at everyone, like the situation as well. So I'm smiling, but not laughing at Bill. Like,
that's okay. All right, Diane or Kian, who would like to? Kian. All right.
Yes. All right. 1 second. The topic. How about? 1 second. I think maybe what do you think needs to happen to create less opposition in the world?
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm sorry, go ahead. Level of Saurus? Level of disruption?
Oh, the worst. I want to the worst.
All right, Edwin, I'll have to rely on you a little bit here.
All right, who would like to speak first?
I'll go for it. Okay, so your topic was about how to find less opposition in the world.
How to the steps towards that. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
I think
So
we
that made
shouldn't
me
do
think-
this. I think we should totally just forget about this whole process and just like talk without, because I find it too much of a structure, too annoying. It's very structured. It's almost like an authoritarian thing here.
Yeah, it's, well, I understand that. Right now it's Kat's turn. But maybe when it's your
I'll
turn.
take
What?
I can. Yeah, I was just thinking about steps of less opposition in the world and how it's sort of about agreeableness was the word that came to my mind.
Who are you speaking to? Sorry.
Kian, sorry, I was speaking to you. Sorry, you were my listener. Yeah, I was just thinking about steps of less opposition in the world and how agreeableness came to mind as a kind of idea that helps. So if you have a good level of agreeableness with people, then you can agree with what they're saying to a level that even if they're oppositions to you, you're showing empathy with the level of agreeableness that they feel.
Yeah, so to some degree, agreeableness is maybe a way to find less opposition.
Yeah, absolutely, because I was making comments about Trump on an article on Facebook, even though I'm not even American, and everyone was having a reaction and then trying to tell me I was supporting Biden, and I was a bit like, I'm not even from your country. So it was something that I found interesting to try to say.
Yeah, Edwin and Bill, even though you're not speaking, you're still communicating. So I'm going to ask you to wait. You can do that. You can even do that on your turn, but I'm going to ask you to wait. Thank you. Sorry, you were saying that you were commenting on Trump, and you got some reaction and response. I'm sorry, I didn't catch the last part.
That's okay. No, I was just making a comment on a page about Trump because of just a certain comment, and then everyone started going on about Biden at me. But then I was actually agreeing with them because I don't care either way. Well, I'm not going to go into that, but I'm not American, so I don't feel it like they assumed I did.
So they were thinking that you were more, because you're not American, they were thinking you're more involved. Yeah, I don't know.
They were more assuming that I was American. So they couldn't conceive of my position because I'm Scottish. So yeah, so it was amusing.
So they didn't realize that you were an American.
So then I used agreeableness in the conversation to watch them agree with me back.
So you were using the agreeableness so there wouldn't be so much opposition.
Yeah, and then there wasn't even a conversation anymore because you diffused it all by having agreeableness to something that wasn't even an issue.
So it sort of just stops whatever conversation because you just agree to.
Yes, so yeah, basically. And while I was in there, I was just thinking about a fun fact about Donald Trump. Where I live in Scotland, he's actually got a golf course about 5 miles away from me. So we're always like making jokes about his golf course.
So you're joking about because he has a golf course near where you live. And that is okay. Are you heard?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel for her. Thanks very much.
Okay. Diane, can I talk to you?
Certainly.
Yes. I think that first of all, to some degree, yes, I agree with what Kat was saying about, how agreeableness can sort of prevent some challenges. I also think that totally agreeing with things is not necessary to create understanding. I'll pause.
Okay, so you agree with what Kat said about agreeableness, and that will help create understanding, but you don't think everything has to be completely agreeable.
Oh.
Bill, I'm gonna ask you to just while you're the silent listener, please be silent. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Thank
I
you.
didn't realize it.
Okay. Yeah. So because obviously in this world with so many billions of people, there's not going to be, and not everybody's going to agree on very much of anything. And if we, not agreeing shouldn't equal you're wrong and you're bad, and this is the like, take it to fight. Like, I feel like we need to find a way to, be able to acknowledge that there's more than just, we can still hold our values, our perspective, and still acknowledge that there are others.
Right. So you feel that there, with so many people in the world, that there's bound to be lots of different opinions, and we don't have to all agree about everything, but there should be some degree of it maybe sounds like acceptance that you're talking about of other people's opinions, and that there could be a variety of opinions.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel heard.
Cool. Okay, my turn. Bill, would you be my active listener?
Sure.
So, yeah, I think that we don't have to all agree on everything, but that it's not so much that opposition or having different opinions isn't really so much of a problem. It's that lack of understanding and acceptance and respect for other people that makes it into a problem.
So you're saying that despite differing points of view, the key to really what's happening is a lack of respect and, a general respect for the other person.
Well, that didn't exactly catch it. Close.
Okay.
Part of that, yeah. People have different opinions, different points of view. And I guess why would we want to create less opposition is to have more harmony, that we can all live together in spite of having different views, that we can have some degree of harmony in the world.
So you think that despite, we can have opposition and that's okay and we don't need harmony.
No, that's not what I said. That that in order to have harmony, it's not about all agreeing on everything.
Okay. So your friend had a baby and they named her Harmony and you didn't really like that.
Oh boy.
Bill, are you understanding what she's saying?
I think so.
I'm
entitled enough.
Can you hear what she's saying and maybe reflect back?
Okay.
What
All
you
right,
hear.
I'll try again.
So I want to go back to that topic we were talking about earlier about gratitude and empathy in a connection that Edwin brought up.
Okay, so you want to go back to the connection between gratitude and empathy that Edwin brought up.
Exactly. And I think that if I didn't have gratitude, it makes me very needy, and it makes me look at other people in weird ways, like maybe I want what they have, or I'm comparing myself, or things like that. If I didn't have gratitude.
So when you're looking and thinking about other people, you want to include gratitude in there.
Yeah, because without gratitude, I think it causes a lot of problems in relationships.
Mm-hmm. So without gratitude, it causes a lot of problems in relationships. You really think so?
I do think so. That's why I said it. If I have gratitude in my sphere of life, it makes it a lot easier to have acceptance for other people having their sphere of life without trying to control or fix or change or attack or anything like that.
That is time. So Bill, you can reflect that and then it will be your turn.
Okay. So you feel that, when you acknowledge your gratitude towards other people, it helps you judge them more fairly and more clearly.
It's not exactly what I said.
Okay.
I was saying, should I clarify?
Yes.
When I have gratitude in my own life, for my life and my world and what I have gratitude in myself, then I'm not looking to somebody else in a weird way to fix me, or I don't have to fix them or control them or have strife.
So when you look around yourself and you look with gratitude in the life that you've created for yourself, that helps you be more self-sufficient and even-handed, and you're not looking for anyone else to fix your problems.
Right. So I can have more empathy for other people that way. Thank you.
And that increases your empathy.
Sure. I think that hurt.
All right. Try to end on a high note there. So, okay. So Kat, would you listen to me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I look at gratitude as mutual regard. And that is acknowledging for me my strengths and shortcomings in myself, and seeing strengths and shortcomings in others, and realizing, that we have to get along. I'll stop there.
So you're just reflecting on the gratitude and how you're relating it to a kind of comparison between two people's strengths and weaknesses between each other, and how you hold yourself in regard against them.
And I kind of look at the enormity of what we must do as a species. And I think that we really have to triage, prioritize the important things and the unimportant things in order to really make the change that we need.
Yes, you're just looking at the scope of the task and the way you'd structure it to be able to prioritize what we need to do first.
Great. And I'm going to say I feel fully heard. And we have about 6 minutes left there, Kian. So I just wanted to give you a chance for some feedback, any questions or things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me invite other people to start. Feedback for Kian. Diane, Kat, or Edwin?
I can offer some.
Sure.
I felt there was some really good kind of comments there. The way he kind of said, when you were not reflecting correctly, and then he was like, do you understand? And then can you do that? So it was like he was asking you and then instructing you quite politely and nicely. That was a really good sort of thing that he did there, I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And
Diane?
just generally labeling it really well.
Yeah, sure, I agree. Diane?
I'm not sure what I would want to say right now.
Okay. All right. If something comes up, then we can, we'll have a debrief later too. Edwin?
Yeah, when Kian, when you asked for, top level topic, I don't think you knew what you were asking for. So we really held back because top level is it's just total chaos, and I just felt too. I didn't want to go, make it too hard. And I thought Bill added good, good level there for the challenges. So yeah, it seemed like the good thing to do is to reflect back, like I think Kat had a good just kind of reflect back what someone is saying. Oh, I hear you're saying this, but let's keep on track. So maybe just adding that short reflection of what you were hearing. So like, oh, Bill, I see Bill and Edwin, I see you really wanting to kind of exercise a little bit, but if you could just, hold back, we just want to hear, you give a little bit of a reflection can be kind of helpful to sort of keep it from getting too rigid or something. I mean, yeah. So but otherwise, yeah, everything worked well. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really like the tone that you set, Kian. And a couple of times what I really liked that you did is, for people who are new to, because you have to listen and facilitate at the same time. And that's another level of complexity. And so when I disrupted you, then you kind of forgot what you were talking about because you had to go over here to deal with that. And what I really liked about what you did, and then I encourage, is that you didn't try to like just gloss over it or something. You just corrected it. Oh, I forgot what you said. And that is just be in the moment, there are going to be times just to allow yourself, as Edwin talks about human-centered design, it's like fail and fail, fail again until you are successful. And it's not a failure, by the way. I'm not trying to, I'm making a joke there, but it's just that you're authentic. Oh, I lost the thing over there. And a couple of tips. You could ask someone to, if you really want to exercise or do that, could you turn your video off? That's one thing. And then the chat is sort of a double-edged sword. Anything that's a distraction. I didn't do a lot of chat for you, distractions, but it can be, or it could be something when, like I've had a person who was very, very shy and they would only talk through the chat. And so the idea is inclusion. And then the question is, can you give people that empathy circle experience? I really like your tone. And I really like the fact that you're just very present and authentic. And I think if you just go with that, you'll be fine.
Thank you.
Sure.
But how was it for Kian? We didn't hear.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The challenges were, I didn't find them too over much, but I did feel like I sort of wasn't respecting Diane's turn when I was letting Bill sort of go on. I felt like I was, from my previous experiences, I was trying to play it back and not be too involved, but that maybe I was a little too much, because then I don't know if Diane actually felt heard. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could. Diane seemed to be in pain, like, this guy's not hearing me. I'm in pain here because this hurts not to be heard. And then finally, when she was heard, it's like, yeah, you got it.
Yeah. I could feel the release. Yeah.
And I have one question. So if somebody is just not getting the reflecting, for some reason I recall you eventually you could sort of help them do that, so the other person feels heard.
Yes, absolutely. What we're doing here is it's not a test of technical excellence, but it's like building bridges. And so if there's a weak place, we just shore it up, and no judgment or anything like that, and then we go to to the next thing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, and I guess we got Eli. Are you sending Eli?
Yeah,
the
she's
other one?
being sent
Okay.
to her room. Hopefully it's working.
Okay.
It will work. Should move in a minute. Must have dropped out.
And that was the 20 minutes. All right, Diane.
Okay, so my topic is, I'd like to hear about ideas for topics for empathy circles.
Mm-hmm.
So who would like to have the first turn to be?
Level of distraction?
Oh, moderate.
Okay, sure.
Can I have a volunteer to be the first speaker?
I'll be the first speaker if you like.
Okay, thank you, Kat. I'll be the first listener for you.
Okay, thank you.
Set my timer ready. Oh, no, this is a problem. Okay, ready, go.
Okay. So you're mentioning topics for empathy circles, and that's been a big thing to kind of work out what's good. And for me, I've been looking at like personal development and interpersonal sort of interactions has been quite an interesting one to try and get people reflecting on their own personal development.
So you find some topics that have to do with their own personal development seems like a good way to go for you to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just sort of looking at different sort of core beliefs and values and things without going into religion. It's more about the person's sort of way of seeing the world and their perception of it. So that's been some kind of interesting topic that we've done.
Okay, so you're interested in topics that have to do with core beliefs and worldview and just how people see things, and you've used some of those topics, it sounds like, and you like that idea.
Yeah, it's just like the perception of reality and how people relate to each other to be able to not feel alone in their perception of reality together.
Okay, so this way people can express what their how they perceive reality, and you can compare that and see that other people have similar perceptions.
Yes, I felt that that was a good way of sort of creating empathy between people to have that kind of connection through that topic.
Okay, so you think that that's a good topic because it promotes empathy between the people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's really good reflection. Yeah, and then the other one that I looked at was more of a women's circle for relationships to encourage them to kind of speak through any kind of difficulties they wanted to work through in relationships that they're having with people, or generally how they're trying to have relationships themselves.
So another group you did with women on the topic of relationships and maybe different issues that they have in relationships and even their own relationship with themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just feel like it's I'm always looking for topics, but then trying to keep it light as well, because when it's deeper, you can't always go as far, and then you don't want to open too much of that stuff.
So I'm sorry, I'm getting a little distracted because I noticed there's some things popping up in the chat. I think we want to not really be doing chat right now, Bill. Okay, so that we can focus a little better. Okay. So when it's your turn, you'll get to, there went the timer, but that disrupted your turn there, Kat. So if you could just, want to give you another moment to say what the last thing that you were saying, and then I'll reflect that back to you before we move on.
I was just saying that it's good to pick light topics as well, so that you're not picking something too deep that people get a bit too lost in.
Okay, so you like the idea of a kind of light topic, nothing so deep that could cause some problems. People get lost.
I've heard. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay. Kian, would you like to be my active listener?
Yeah.
Okay. So we are going around. Everybody will get turns, fair shake on turns. So that's good. And oops. back to the timer. Okay, so just say I picked this topic because I really have been thinking that I need a list of ideas to draw from. And when I saw in the homework assignment for the Empathy Circle, they had that list of different types of challenges that we might face. It seemed to me that there would be a list like that with some ideas for topics, but I haven't heard about that yet.
So you're wanting to have a list, you know, with the topic, so you can have that to reference.
Yeah, to have a resource to reference. It doesn't mean I have to only use the topic from the list, but to spur some ideas. So I thought if I ask this way, I took a little initiative. Here's my chance to find out what some additional ideas.
Yeah, so you want to, you know, you're not thinking that the list is just what the topics are going to be, but they could be sort of sparks for ideas for other things.
Yeah, and it's interesting how you know, how topics can really affect the whole tone of the circle. If it's something very, it just depends. Like I was thinking of doing one and asking people about something about their fathers. But then I thought, well, somebody might have a very painful, you know, traumatic memory about their father, and I don't want to stir that up. So I went with fond or humorous early childhood memories.
So you had the idea of a topic about something, a memory about some the people's fathers, but that could, you know, you realize that might be not so comfortable or yeah, and you ended up going with something that was maybe a little bit easier to talk about.
Yeah, it's just like early childhood memories and something that you have a fond memory of. And it was really fun. It was so fun to get to know people two of the people I already knew, but I got to know them a lot better from hearing some of their stories.
So the fond memories, the story, the childhood stories was you felt like it was really fun, and it was a good way to get to know people better.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to, you know, pick up on, like, I liked those ideas that Kat said about something that ties in with personal development is a good idea. Okay, there goes the timer.
So you're appreciating what Kat said about the personal development.
Yeah, but that's a great topic. Or it could actually be a bunch of topics.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be just one topic, but that could turn into many.
Yeah, thank you. I feel heard.
Okay.
Eli is having trouble joining her group. She's not in her group, so I'm going to go to that group just to check what's happening, just to make sure that they're okay. So.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Bye.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Edwin.
Okay,
Edwin.
I saw Eli had dropped out. She seems to be having trouble getting back in. Are you okay here?
Yeah, we were just concerned. Was she actually okay? Was it a technical fault? Do you know? Or not?
She's been trying to get back in, and it seems like sounds like some kind of a computer. Looks like a computer issue.
That's fine. Good.
So, are you able to continue? I'm gonna.
We are. We're just cracking on. We're just getting on.
Okay, great. Yeah. Then
I was going to say,
stay
Kate,
here until until she comes back.
Yeah.
Or
I was going to feed back, Kate. I really liked the way that you, just very gently said, "Let's move along." When
you know what to do.
Yeah. And I think because you can't. You just have to go with empathy mode, don't you? She did say that's enough. I don't want to talk anymore.
Oh, absolutely. It was clear. You needed to move on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking about that, and I sort of scribbled some things down, and I was like thinking, like you did it with Deborah at the end, and you went, "Are you okay, Deborah?" at the end. At the time that happened, I was thinking, would you say, "Are you okay, Eli?" And then would you be like, "Is everyone okay?" Because you could feel it in the group, couldn't you? And then I thought, actually, I was digesting it a bit more throughout, and I thought, well, it's very difficult. I think what you did was spot on, because it didn't open up a whole nother discussion about everyone starts feeling if they're okay and blah, 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 blah. And you could sort of deal with that after, I think. Although I know you were worried that that's why she left, but I don't think it is. But so that was in my head. And then the other thing is just that, the thing that Deborah did where she didn't choose someone, that exact thing happened to me in a group, exactly. But I was caught onto it within the first sentence of someone starting, and I felt, as it was the first sentence, I immediately just said, "Oh, hang on a minute, Deborah, you got to choose your listener." And then she was like, "Oh, right, yeah, sorry, yeah." And then she started. So, but I think, I don't know if it had just gone on a bit long before you sort of then twigged, and then you came up with another strategy.
Yes, it had gone on a little bit too long, and I wasn't actually 100% sure because of what had felt quite awkward in that moment before, you see. So I was like, I know I'd said to Deborah, like, it's okay, we can leave it there, we can move on, these things happen, no one has to share, blah blah blah. Deborah, off you go, be and speak, and I was like, and then I was like, oh great, the wheels are back on. And then I couldn't remember. It's like, I don't think she did, but she might have done. Did she? I'm not sure. Oh shit.
But actually, even though I didn't name you, I had chosen you, because I was just, as I was doing my talking, I was looking at your face.
Well, obviously I knew, because I was like, I'm going to listen.
I was the opposite, and I was like, I hope it wasn't me she chose, because I don't think I heard everything. So she's going to go, "What do you think, Sharon?" And I was like, cool. Is there anything else you need to cover?
No, I think you can go for your thing if you want to.
Okay, cool. So it's past now, so 20 minutes. I've got my timer ready. Right.
Shall I put 20 minutes on for you then?
Yeah, thank you. And I'll do
That's all right.
We're doing 4 minutes at a time, aren't we?
It's up to you. You can do 3, 4, 5.
Carry on with 4.
Do you want to try and manage some challenges, Edwin?
Right.
Or do you want, or not? Or Edwin, do you want to do them? How should we do that? What do we think, people?
To be honest, I was going to say this to Eli anyway, that I actually didn't want any challenges, and I was happy doing mine last week, and I did like a 7 out of 10 challenge last week with Tim, and I'm actually fine with it, and I'm maybe just not in the mood, and I've got this backache and all this stuff going on, so I just would rather not, actually. So I'm just thinking, would one of you like to choose to be the speaker, and then you can choose your listener?
Do you want to give us the subject?
Yeah, so saving your bacon, Deborah.
Oh, I know. I don't know where that came from.
The topic is eating animals. That's why I was smirking when you said it. So, because I've written it down. Does one of you want to start?
I will. Oh.
You can go. I went first last time, Deborah.
They're keen, aren't they? Deborah, go on then. Who's your listener?
Edwin?
Yep, listening.
Hi, Edwin. Yes, I've had a bit of an on-off relationship with eating animals. So when I was about 18 or not 18, I moved out from my parents' house and lodged, and I think I didn't name myself as a pescatarian, but I just ate fish, and really it was just to save money, because this other person I was sharing the house with, she was a vegetarian, and she was telling me about how it's so much cheaper to eat soya, and there's just as much good stuff in beans, and jacket potato and beans is a good meal.
You've had sort of an on and off relationship with being vegetarian or eating meat, and then you just ate fish because or for just saving money. It wasn't sort of a ethical reason, just like, oh, I can save money eating soy or something.
Yeah, but then the more I didn't eat it, then I found that I actually felt a bit repulsed by it, because I was at a party and by accident I ate a Scotch egg, and when I realised what I was eating, I remember gagging because oh gosh, there's sausage in my mouth.
So it sounds like after not eating meat for a while, you kind of didn't really want to, and when you ate an egg, it was like, oh, kind of a gag response.
Yeah. And then carried on like that for about eight or 9 years. And then when I was pregnant with my second son, I got a craving for honey roast ham. So I hadn't eaten meat for about 8 years, and then I got this craving for honey roast ham. And I thought, hang on a minute, maybe, you know, in my pregnancy, my body's needing something. So, but I still found I had to reintroduce it slowly. So I was trying chicken. I just had a little bit of chicken, and yeah, it's not something I could do quickly.
Okay, so from your experience, suddenly you got this craving, oh, honey ham, so to have that, but you had to sort of ease into it. And you said, I think I'm hearing that you were pregnant, and you thought maybe it was related to that. So you couldn't just in one fell swoop just start eating this. You had to sort of ease into it and address those cravings.
Yeah. And then in hindsight, it was a bit weird because when my son was born, we then found out he was highly cow's milk intolerant. I was breastfeeding him, but I couldn't touch it because I couldn't process it, and he couldn't. So in a way, maybe going back onto meat was maybe that my body was telling me in some way, you know, don't drink so much, because the way I augmented not eating meat was by eating a lot of dairy. Don't know if...
So it wasn't quite clear I got that, but your son was lactose intolerant, and you think your body was trying to tell you something about not eating meat or dairy. Oh, you stopped eating meat, then you started eating a lot of dairy, and you're kind of like wondering if that had an effect somehow, that eating dairy.
But I'm wondering if that was the trigger for my craving for meat during the pregnancy, because he had this, you know, severe dairy allergy.
So you're just like, hey, he has a dairy allergy, and you're wondering that's what was sort of sending you a message to eat more meat instead of and less dairy.
And from a you know, ethical point of view now, I only eat organic meat that's not done in these horrible factory farms. So I probably only eat about 3 times a week, 2 or 3 times a week, but it's good quality and very expensive. But
so you do eat meat, but you make sure it's organic, and just a few times, 3 times a week or so. Good quality. Okay, then I'll speak to Kate. For some reason the memory comes is, you know, I've been doing this work on empathy, you know, posting all this, and years ago, and I posted a video of me going fishing. And I love to fish out there in the mountains, you know, trout fishing in the high Sierras. And I posted that video, and someone said, "You hypocrite, how can you be empathic when you do this fishing?" So I thought that was kind of interesting, just the vitriol, you know, around that.
Yeah, so what I heard is that with the subject, you were reminded of a situation where you posted a video of you fishing. You love to fish. And and very quickly people were calling you out for leading empathy and doing fishing, and you found that interesting, the level of anger this issue can arouse.
Yeah, and when I see all the documentaries, you know, about chicken farm, the farming, industrial farming, it is pretty grotesque. So we're pretty much into organic here. You know, my partner's very into organic food, so I think it's a little bit better. But I can understand how someone might go, you know, vegan or vegetarian because of all the kind of the cruelty. So that makes sort of sense to me.
Yeah, so what I heard is that you've seen some videos about factory farming, and you do find it cruel. So you do have sympathy for people that you know, are vegans or vegetarians. You yourself eat organic, I believe.
Yeah, and then also all the, you know, the hormones and just all that kind of stuff that's done with animals, that it seems like a problem too. So so we only eat like poultry and fish, so we don't do red meat.
Yeah, so what I heard is that so you only eat poultry and fish, you don't eat red meat. And that another thing that concerns you about meat eating is like the hormones that are injected into the animals.
Yeah, I feel heard. Thanks.
Okay, so I think it's Sharon. You're going to listen to me.
Okay, let me just reset. Hang on.
I'm just going to drop out and come back. I'm just going to double check that Eli's not waiting out there.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so
you know, with that. And one of the things that I found is that a visual cue like this doesn't interrupt the flow as much as a verbal cue.
Yeah.
Like if I say, oh, it's time now, then the person stops and has to sort of address, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, where was I? But if I go like this, there's kind of a nod and the flow can go on. And again, that's not something that you have to do, but it's just something that I find that's worked for me and some other people. So
Yeah, that's what I've done actually in the past in the groups I did, and I do agree with that.
Okay, a short interruption. Eli's doesn't seem to be coming back, but if you see her, could you let her in? I'm going to just be in that room 5, kind of taking her place. So if you happen to see her pop into just please admit her and then I'll move her. Hey, okay, sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
I heard you say that you were studying and you were doing animal rights and in philosophy, I think to do with philosophy when you were 21, and then you went veggie, I think you said, for about 3 years. And then you've gone from being veggie to eating meat and back and forth over the time. And then the climate change issue is what then made you think about it again. And since then, I'm not sure when that was, but then since that, it has entered your kind of mind that you are now what you would term as plant-based. And that means that you're not vegan, but you try to eat plant-based meals, but sometimes you're not strict. Sometimes you might have a bit of milk or something if that's available at the time.
yeah, and I would like to be stricter in a way. Like I do feel like I don't really need the cheese, so I do feel like I let myself down a little bit with the cheese because, like, yeah, dairy farming or dairy factory farming is like is really mean and horrible, and yeah, and I don't need the cheese to stay alive. There's plenty of other choices for me. So I feel a bit weak. I feel a bit weak by not like being more yeah, by being stricter about it, because yeah, I mean factory farming, it's I mean I just feel it's horrific, and I couldn't kill an animal myself right now in my life, so if I can't do that, I don't feel like I can really like eat one or make one suffer or something. So yeah.
Wow, okay, you covered quite a bit there. Let me just try and get my head right. So you started off talking about cheese, and you recognize the dairy industry as you mentioned later on how horrific it was, but I think you said you do eat cheese, but you don't feel there's a need to eat cheese. So I think you've got a bit of a cheese dilemma. I think we've come time, but I don't know if you want to finish your cheese dilemma at all.
I think it's pretty much that entire last thing could have been summarized as you have a cheese dilemma. You didn't need to say anything else. You could have just literally said, Kate, you have a cheese dilemma, and I'd have been like, shit, yeah, I do. I have got a fucking cheese dilemma.
So reflecting that back,
I feel like really well fucking heard. Cheese dilemma. That's the best thing ever. I'm gonna tell
I
my
must add
boyfriend.
for everyone else that me and Kate did spend 45 minutes together earlier and had a bit of this strange conversation earlier, not about cheese, but we had this kind of wavelength thing going on. So yeah, so you're definitely saying you have a cheese dilemma. End of.
Totally understood.
Thank you, Kate. Lovely to talk to you again, listen to you again. Right. Okay, I think as I've got the opportunity, Edwin, I'm going to choose you.
Okay, I'm listening.
Okay. Hang on, I'm resetting and I'm ready to go because I'm looking at the time and we've got to do the reflection and stuff. Right. Okay. Okay. How do you tell there's a vegan in the room because they mentioned veganism?
So you're starting off with how do you tell a vegan in the room because they're going to mention veganism?
Thanks, Edwin. Okay. Where do I start? Oh, I never know where to start. I went vegetarian when I was 12 because my dog killed my rabbit, and I love my rabbit. She's my little friend. She's called Jenny. I loved her to bits. I love my dog as well. My dog friend. He got my rabbit, shook her to bits, and I just decided that I was no different to the dog. I was doing the same thing, but I could make a choice. So at 12, I made a choice and I went vegetarian.
So it's a big moment there where your dog killed your rabbit and you really cared about both of them, and you're sort of identifying with the dog. It's like, well, I could be doing that too, and I don't want to do that. So sounds like that was sort of the pivotal moment in your life. Like, yeah,
it was
I'm not going to do this.
Yeah, it was a bit of an epiphany. So I went vegetarian at 12, and then that carried on for 27 years. I was vegetarian and I was very chuffed with myself. Oh yeah, vegetarian, great stuff. But in the last few years of that, so it would have been, I'm 48, so it was eight years ago when I was 39 actually, I was 39. And I knew that for some time, I knew that it was hypocritical the way I was living, and I knew that there was much more to my life, to what was going on. Kate referred to the dairy industry. I knew what was happening to chicks at a day old, that they were being, ground or gassed or what have you, so I could eat my eggs. And I actually kept chickens for a while as well, and things were just starting to weigh too heavily on me.
So you're really proud of your veganism, but then you kind of became aware of, I guess, chickens and poultry, and sounds like that you kind of had some concern about that. It was starting to be a bit heavy for you.
Yeah, but I must say, Edwin, I don't say poultry and I don't say meat. They're animals, so they're not. They're not. I don't say that, and that actually. Also, I say meat. You probably heard me say it. I try not to. They're animals. They're you know, sentient beings as far as I'm concerned. And so 8 years ago, I went vegan, and I have never looked back. I feel so much better. What's the word? Like lighter in my soul. And the reason, my main reason is that I don't think we have any right to kill any other creature, whatever they are. We have no, I feel very, very strongly that ethically we don't have any right to kill anything at all, no matter what it is.
Yes, you feel very strongly that you don't have a right, or we don't have a right to kill anything, no matter what it is. And when you went vegan, you really felt the lighter, better feeling.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my time.
Yeah. Okay.
So I feel fully heard. Thank you, Edwin. Thank you.
Then I'll speak to Deborah.
Yeah, how are we for time? Sorry, time.
Oh, we're back at a debrief. Yeah, so
yeah,
need to debrief here. We only have 12 minutes.
We kind of need to finish there, I think. So thank you. Sorry.
That's good.
Yeah, I know I didn't have any challenges, did I? So just thank you, everybody, unless there's anything you want to add.
It all just felt really natural and it just flowed. So there was at one point, I wasn't sure if you flashed up the time. It felt quite quick. So
Okay.
maybe just hold up the time signal for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I always have a bit of a where Edwin can help us out. I'm like, it's like, how many seconds do you do it for? And people aren't always looking at the screen, are they?
Yeah,
so they're like thinking and looking around, and some people don't, you know, they look down. So what do you think, Edwin?
Well, yeah, it's you just have, sometimes people are on cell phones and they don't even see you too. So you have to be able to kind of judge where everyone is. And I kind of have the big sign that I put up. I'm pretty, so everybody's different. And maybe make a sound or something. It depends. Yeah. But yeah, this group seems really fun. It's like, it's kind of like coming into a really great sort of energy here. So it's you know, it's kind of loose and just gentle and fun, and really has a really effervescent sort of feel.
That's really
with all
good to hear. But
yeah.
you came in at the end of a really heavy subject, which is why we thought we were worried about Eli, that she'd left because of the subject. So it's really funny you say that.
No, she kept trying to come back in somehow. I think she's got some kind of computer problem. It just wasn't somehow things weren't letting her back in. So
I'm glad I didn't destroy her with the topic of family.
Family's really heavy. Can I just say, like, even though like we did that subject, everyone played really nice, didn't they? Yeah. The veganism one.
Yeah.
I don't mind really heavy and deep things. I really enjoy to share at a deep level. I like prefer my circles when they're really deep, but that's my personal preference, and I probably influence my circles in that way because I tend to start off by sharing quite deeply and honestly myself. Like I'll be the listener person though. Yeah, the listener first, so then I speak quite quickly into a circle. So, but it's interesting because I could see, like, I suppose I'm interested, like quite a lot of hesitation from, you know, from Deborah and Sharon about the subject, like, you know, with family, and I wonder about, I mean, it's everybody's right to share as deeply as they, I suppose, as deeply as they want, including me as a facilitator. And it's, you know, it's, I suppose what I'm doing right now is I'm wondering out loud about this, like a subject that, to me, you know, you could go with any way, but it actually brought up like safety issues or triggering and la la la. And I suppose, yeah, go on, Deborah, please.
Well, I was just thinking I could have said Actually, I choose not to talk about this topic. I'm going to pick something else.
Yeah, you could have spoken about anything.
Can I just say that I love how a circle bonds, like I suppose what Edwin just referred to, and I like the way that it really truly becomes the circle, in that people, that we become aware of each other as about where we want to take it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
There's sort of a group energy that kind of gets formed. Like,
yeah, but I think also, like, I think certain people, it doesn't always happen, but I think I'm starting to see that when the held thing, when it's going in a certain direction, it's like it's being steered together as a circle. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it has sort of a direction that it's going together on its own, or someone sort of guiding it. You
I think collectively, there's a guidance collectively.
Collective empathy.
Yeah, I think that's why, that's the magic that happens between round 2 and 3. And I know that it's happened because suddenly I love everybody. I'm like, oh, I love everyone. I'm like, the magic has happened. It's fine. We are close to the end of the circle. I have shifted into that place. But also, I think if we did more than like one round, probably whatever, like you might, we will have no way of knowing, do we? But I always find like a second round, often people, like the first round can be a bit like, oh, I'm not sure. But then in the second round, people like often maybe they get some permission to kind of like then to like move more deeply. So if we had moved more deeply, maybe different things would have started to flow with family or any other deep topic. I think which is another reason why you should definitely do more than one round. You need at least 3. Else the magic doesn't happen. Magic happens between 2 and 3.
And the topic of family is really good. It's everybody, it's like, it's very so international for me. I mean, we've done that topic. It's like all over the world, everybody's dealing with the same issues, and it just feels so real. Like people are dealing with it on a regular basis. So I actually kind of love that topic. Yeah.
I'm writing it down for my group, for like add to the list of things like kind of think of doing. So
but there's the aspect of it does depend on who's in the circle, so the energy, you know, somebody can be very logical, and other people are more feeling based, or so it kind of, there is something about who comes into the circle for the energy of it.
Yeah, when I did the male one, I'll say male because I was the only female at Rebel Wisdom, that did tend to get quite philosophical, they're quite sort of philosophical, intellectual, and there were some feelings there too, so that was great.
So how is it for you, Sharon, facilitating that last one?
For me, how was it? It was really easy because you all just knew what you were doing, and I didn't need to do anything, so it was really easy. But that's kind of how it is. That's how it's been a couple of times with the group that I'm doing stuff with, I think. And the first one was trying to teaching everyone, and then the second one was like, oh yeah, let's just get on with it. And I love what was it Tim said earlier about to get to a position where you don't even need to be there, and that I love that. And I was just thinking that, wonder when that'll happen in my group, because like I love it for someone else to post on the Facebook group, is anyone free on Thursday to do a circle? And I'll be like, well, I'm not, but yeah, go for it. Or I wouldn't even say anything, I just let them all just talk, and then I think that would be brilliant.
How big is the group? Does it vary?
I have 16 on the Facebook group, and then we've run three circles with 3 different groups of people. Actually, some of them crossed over. Each time has been 4 or 5 of us. I don't like it to be more than 5. I sit in hierarchy, but I find it's nice, like smaller. Or maybe I just wanted to be doing it smaller to start with. And then this week we're building up the time. So the new starters, we do an hour, because I think they were all saying about how it's like your brain, like learning, I don't know, like a muscle, the muscle thing. So we did an hour and everyone was like, okay, an hour, right. And then the second time it was like an hour and a half. And then this coming weekend on Sunday and Valentine's Day, we've got 2 hour, 2 hour session. And the people that are joining it, it's already filled up. There's 5 of us that have signed up and they're all like really, they've all realized if they go up to 2 hours, it's going to be really, like Kate said, it's going to start getting quite good because they've started to realize that. So everyone's like, let's do 2 hours, come on.
Yeah, I think any more than 5 is pushing it. You just don't get as many rounds in, do you? Yeah.
I had
Also,
thought of like a marathon. Oh, sorry, this a marathon. What if we had like a day-long empathy cafe just to see kind of what would happen? I haven't done that. I've been thinking about it. That
it's a brilliant idea.
What would happen? You just keep going and going, and I wonder if, well, just what would be the mindset after like 8 hours? You know, little breaks.
It would be like crazy. You'd be like, oh,
it's interesting because I find that the circles actually, they kind of run themselves out. And they like after 3 or 4 rounds, like I often have a feeling myself feeling really complete. Like the circle seems to have a lifetime. That's what I've noticed so far. But Edwin, you've run a lot more than these. Maybe you have different experience.
He's busy. What's your longest circle so far, Edwin?
I've done family ones for 4.5 hours.
Wow.
And it's interesting. We kind of, Eli anyway, messaged, I'm totally disconnected if Greg or someone could do a breakout. So just that she's been having real trouble getting back in. But it has been, and the topic that we did was, we got to close the rooms too, but I'm going to hit the close. Well, I'll give it a minute to close. It was, the topic was what were childhood memories? And so we went around talking about it and talking, you know, with 6 or 7 family members. And then into about the 3rd hour, it was so interesting. You kind of feel the space and it's like these little conflicts, the issues would kind of bubble up metaphorically into this pot. And we had sort of this trust to kind of work through them. There was a conflict between my partner and my sister-in-law, and then my sister and me, and then my sister-in-law and my brother. It was such an interesting, you know, just giving it space. And I could just feel the cauldron of, I'm gonna close all the rooms. The cauldron of it was really, so I'm really excited about the thought of doing this 8-hour marathon. I think would be really interesting anyway.
Do it.
Wow.
I'm gonna not come to the final bit. I'm bloody knackered. I'm gonna go to sleep. I'll try and get some actual sleep. So see you guys.
I'm so glad you could join us for this part, Kate.
Yeah. I'm really happy I made it this week. Thanks for being understanding, Edwin. Okay, ciao guys.
See you in the main room. Bye.
I'm gonna go.
One of the books I'm using for this is a guy, a Navajo Indian, who does poems and does these art pieces. Shanto Bigay.
Bigay. They say it Bigay on the reservation, if I could be so bold. I know
You
that.
can be so bold because I'd hate to meet him and mispronounce his name.
Be bold.
Bigay.
I know these guys, yeah.
Okay, Bigay. Great. He's a great, I love the book. Love his work. All right, so we're back here. I think who's doing the Eli?
Eli was having struggles with her computer. Somehow she just kept trying to come back in, just wasn't letting her. So there's some technical issues. So if someone else wants to jump in, just do the.
I'm happy to facilitate that.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Welcome back, folks. Have you filled up on? Have you been nourished by some feedback and reflection and insights and practice and mutual support? Oh my gosh, these things sound good. Yes, Shoshana's like, yep. Okay. So now this time we're going to just facilitate until Eli comes back. I'd love to hear her voice, but we'll go for about 1 minute each. Okay, 1 minute. and my little bell will go off when your time's up. Or maybe like at 50 seconds, and then you can finish your thought. But really, the two questions we'd love for you to share, if first of all, share anything you want from this experience. But the first one is, how was your experience and how might this have changed your feelings about facilitating, right? I'm thinking confidence, right? How has this affected your confidence? Confidence is important. Number two, what strengths did you notice about yourself, and what areas do you see potential areas of growth, right? Or challenges for you? So that's what's next for you, okay? Or share anything you like. So I'm just gonna go through my screen again, and it's probably the same order as well, maybe not, but it looks like Kian is up for these two. So I'll have my timer on Kian, but yeah, what was that like for you? What came up in terms of learning challenges?
Yeah, so I asked for the worst interruptions. I think it didn't end up being that like that. And it was more moderate, and that was, that was okay, because I've been trying to figure out how to, especially when I'm reflecting back at the same time and deal with somebody else who's interrupting. It's really hard to hold on to what somebody's saying. So that was, that made it more challenging. And I don't really have a lot to say right now. I'm just still taking in Bill's feedback, and yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Kian. That's about time. Appreciate it. And Kat, go ahead if you'd like to share.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like I had more confidence this time in what we were doing, and also I was able to anticipate some of the interruptions coming. So then I already preempted them before they happened. So that was quite funny. And I think for me to work on is trying to be more succinct when I'm trying to give direction to people, so that you're not over justifying anything. You're just telling them what you need to say. So, yeah. I enjoyed Bill's expressions about the forbidden planet. That was quite interesting.
Cool. Well, we'd like to hear that at some point, Bill. Thank you. Kat, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate, sharing a learning, right? That was inspiring for you. That's a helpful time to do that as well. Diane, you're next if you'd like to express yourself.
I was in that same group, and I thought it was great. It was very nourishing and encouraging, and it was good to hear a lot of the different ideas, and even the disruptions, not just when I was being the leader, but when the other people were taking their turns, and just seeing how disruptions, the kinds of things that people might do, and the ways that seeing other people respond to that. And it was good. I liked it. And I had a topic that I brought up that I'm very interested in, which was about what topics, empathy circle topics, ideas for that. And it's something I want to sort of have some kind of list of ideas or resource on that, or so it helped me have some new ideas. Thank you.
Yeah, good. Anything to add? Just a few more seconds there. My alarm goes off at 50 seconds. Anything else you might want to add?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Diane. Appreciate that. Okay, Greg.
Well, I didn't facilitate. I was sort of the extra person, but something very interesting came up. Well, several things came up that were really interesting. One was, now I've heard this before, but one is when trying to steer somebody a little bit, it helps to explain why we do this format. That's hard for me to remember. And in other words, not just wrap their knuckles and say, stop it, but say the reason we do this is that blah, blah, blah. And I think that's really hard for me to remember. I got to work on that. Another thing was Susan brought up that sometimes culture can be a factor. So I want to think about that. And Lou was talking about that and said, well, remember that everybody's a human being, and listening is the thing we're trying to learn and teach. So that's it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Right on. Okay, George.
Okay. enjoyed the group. We had plenty of examples of interruptions, and I really enjoyed that. I had a hard time to keep from smiling when I wasn't in the crosshairs, you know, and I wasn't active in it. But I really enjoyed the practice of this. And what's next? I kind of resonating something that Kat had mentioned about trying to just kind of keep it simple and concise. And the thing that Greg just mentioned there about also sharing, remembering to share that this is a new process maybe for us, and we're trying to do it. Why we're trying to stay in this process could be very helpful in keeping things from escalating. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, George. Brandon, your thoughts and reflections from our practice session.
Yeah. Well, firstly, I feel less drained and less distant than I did when we first began. I am feeling more confidence in my capacity to be able to facilitate. I got a lot of positive feedback around my tone and the way that I deliver instructions in my interventions. And the thing that might need to be worked on that got raised is perhaps that maybe I'm so kind in the way I intervene that I might not be firm enough. If it escalates, that I might not have the capacity to rein that in. So I'm going to take that into consideration for future circles. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Susan.
It was good to hear Brandon say that he feels more energy from our circle, and I realize I do too, but I couldn't have told you before he said it. My biggest challenge is I want to manage my attention so it doesn't feel like I'm shifting between the clock and who's who and know where to go with my own attention. I think it doesn't show too much, but I feel pretty scattered and I need some practice. Another issue that I learned from Bill Filler is that if we do a good introduction and things are working, we can kind of sit back and let the people facilitate their own move to the next person who will be speaking and listening.
Wonderful. Just finish your thought there. Remember, a few extra seconds if you need it. Anything else you wanted to say there, Susan?
Don't need. If we end early, I'm cool.
Okay, thanks, Susan. Nadav.
Yeah, I had a great time and enjoyed it. And I got a really, really nourishing, a good word, feedback. It definitely strengthened my confidence in my abilities. And it was also I learned from seeing the other people do it. It's really interesting for me. That's what's on my mind right now.
Thank you, Nadav. Appreciate it. And Jane, if you'd like to express yourself.
Yeah, I enjoyed a lot these big challenges. Susanna was a really good acting disturber. And I also thinking about that in this situation, because the group in breakout room, people may not be concentrate on their talk, and also cannot go into the deep, cannot go deep into their discussions. So they're talking. So in this case, maybe somebody is keep doing that one, even in I maybe facilitator keep talking, that is something have to be done like this way, like that. So in this case, maybe this person separate from the group and then handle like in a different group or in a other way, person to person, because he wants to be seen. So this would be better, or just to keep doing in this way. This is something that I not pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, not sure about this. This is something that you're considering. Yeah, reflecting on. Cool, thank you. And Sharon.
Yeah, just lots of gratitude to my group. It was really, really good. I chose not to have challenges because I've got enough challenges. I've got back pain, cats, and water heaters. So I think that in itself is just probably something we all have to deal with, is all the stuff going on around us in our homes or what have you, is sometimes enough of a challenge to do what I think it was Susan mentioned, which is trying to manage your attention and focus yourself when there's other things happening in your environment as well. So that felt like that was actually a challenge that was happening, which I don't think everybody in my group realized that all these things were happening, but I was just trying to still keep focused on everything. We had a great energy, there was some tension, connections, all sorts of things. It was really interesting group this week. And then strengths and areas of growth. It was quite funny when Edwin came in. So I'm just building up to doing like longer sessions with my group. Sort of, we've got a 2-hour one coming up, and then this is leading Edwin into thinking that he might do an 8-hour marathon. Oh, sorry, he might want to tell you about the 8-hour empathy circle that he's planning. Sorry.
Thank you, Sharon. Deborah.
Oh, I wasn't on mute. Sorry. I hope I was quiet. Yeah, I was in Sharon's group. Yeah, great energy. Yeah, and a real mixed bag. Yeah, had everything in it, didn't it? And really interesting because I actually forgot to choose a listener, and that happened off the back of being a bit thrown by a really heavy topic. Yeah. So that was interesting. Yeah. Really positive feedback about my delivery and tone, and just a reminder to give an explanation, so it's not making the interruption too brief. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Okay, thank you. And then Diane, have you gone yet? Oh, you did? Okay, the screen shifted a little bit. I want to be sure. Okay, Cody, go ahead.
Yeah, there's some really good affirmations in there, I think, that are building confidence about my own conceptions of what communication are, and how to deliver those. And then and the power of bringing a sense of levity into something that can be really, really deep and sacred, but doesn't need to be heavy. So, yeah.
Cool. You got some more time if you want to share one of those affirmations with the group.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was about what communication is, and both needing time, attention, and space, and also the definition of communication being able to speak, be heard, and then know that you are heard. Those are just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful things I heard.
Thank you. Cool. Appreciate it, Cody. Kelly, go ahead.
I got some good feedback about my, I guess, sort of like leadership style, or my assertiveness, which is good because I don't always like feel that assertive when I'm being assertive. And I think I also got like a good kind of view on, there's a lot of, I experience when people critique the process, it like activates my own kind of doubt about the process. And so the cue that I'm kind of finding and found through this session is like not to speak from that place, but just kind of reflect the person's doubt and just like revert to the structure and just kind of keep my own doubt on the other side of that like exchange kind of. So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks. And Heather.
I think just like letting go. So there's kind of this nervousness or fear, like what if someone does, have this type of distracting or behavior, but really I just realized today, like it shouldn't be if, which is when when it happens, because we are humans. And so that just kind of, think, yeah, the levity and not just taking out, it's not a judgment against you as facilitator or against the process. It's just normal human behavior. So I think it just kind of like relaxed and let it go a little bit.
Thank you so much, Heather. And Leslie.
Yeah. Well, this has just been an odd one for me, given the lack of the visual, and I really appreciate, as disembodied as I feel being, like, you know, on a digital platform, I feel all the more without an image up there, and just the nonverbal that can travel. But still, in all, it was a great experience, and I think the single biggest takeaway from my group was that somebody disrupting, you know, it may not be a matter of that they really aren't aware of the structure or the purpose, but they may be in need of empathy for some reason unbeknownst to us. And so, you know, affirming their needs or affirming that in some way can be a helpful way to go.
Cool. Thank you, Leslie. And from my perspective, that's everyone. Anybody not speak? We got the trainers, of course, and we're all humans learning too, and we're modeling like being participant learners. So, you know, Bill, what would you add from your experience with your group that for you and your own learning, or any insights?
Sure. Well, I'm trying to gauge my level of disruption. I tend to be a bit mild, I think, compared to other people. So I don't know. Although in real life, I'm much more caustic and have no social skills. But I just want to express my gratitude to each of you. I really was impressed by the skill and the dedication, and you know, when I get down, I think of people like you that in my group and that are here, that there's hope. We're working on it, and I hope to help you turn that ship around. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Cool. On my screen, I'm next, and I just want to say that we had a scale of 0 to 10 intensity in our practice session, and I set a cap of 7, and I think 2 people got a 7 in terms of challenging the process, questioning. I'm bored. Come on, what do I do? Just sit here? You know, like it was pretty dynamic in our practice sessions, and we played with the idea of assertiveness, where this is what's happening here. Yes, it's my way or the highway, and I still love you. It's okay. You know, like there was a little bit of like bold assertiveness, and doing assertiveness with a sense of warmth and kindness, you know, and seeking agreement. You know, the theme was rolling with resistance, right? Somebody's resisting what you want to have happen. Well, there's agreements you can rely on, but rolling with resistance means you do a little Aikido and say, wait, is this what you walk with somebody for a second? Oh, is this what you see? You're really bored and you really would love some freedom of just, ease. Is that it? Yeah, okay, I get that. And in this particular moment, it may be uncomfortable, but your turn comes around. What do you say? So, we practiced that kind of stuff, and that seemed helpful. And that reminded me to help with, like that loving or that warm assertiveness. Yeah, so I was inspired by that for our group. Lou, go ahead.
Yeah, something that's strong for me right now is just how much the process of being, the empathy circle process is as much about me actually understanding myself as it is about me understanding someone else. So the process of me speaking and getting it reflected back, I actually, I am discovering for myself what I think and what I feel. And I think in the past, I've had more focus on that it's about mutual understanding, us trying to understand each other, not so much me trying to understand myself, but the more I participate, particularly with challenging topics, I realize that it's about self-discovery. It's actually more about that than anything else.
So appreciate
and I wanted to ask Jane, well, I'll leave that for after the debrief. Go ahead.
No, you got 10 seconds. Go for it.
Well, so I wanted to ask Jane, were you saying that you were having a question about if someone in the circle is having a problem, figuring out how much time to give them in dealing with that problem? Is that what you were kind of trying to figure out as a facilitator? Is it?
I haven't summarized it yet, but what I wonder is that in this situation, because for other people, for the rest of the people to make a fully into the empathy circle, maybe this person who want to be like a who want to disturb, and this person maybe we segregate, can I say,
right.
separate,
Yes.
and then trying to make a one-to-one talk, maybe with the
Yes.
other facilitator. So make her fully, be seen and heard. So the rest of people maybe can enjoy their empathy circle.
Okay.
Is it okay to do this way, or still need to maintain well?
Yeah, I mean, what your question does raise the question for me as a facilitator, that when there's a disruption and you're trying to deal with it, how much time do you spend doing that? Do you let the whole circle be taken over by that? Or do you try out something, and then if it's not shifting and you're not getting agreement for the person, how do you contain it so that it doesn't take over the whole circle and the circle comes apart, or people, And I think that's a good question. And what you're describing, which is to say to the person, well, so I understand you're still having difficulty. Decide if you want to participate in this, or maybe you don't. Maybe you want to step out, or maybe you'll just try the best you can for now. And then after the circle's over, you and I can talk about the problem that you were having. That might be a way to deal with it.
Thank you, Bill, for catching that from Jane. I really appreciate that. Two more folks I wanted to hear from, though, in this debrief, Edwin and Shoshana. Edwin, you're next on my screen.
Just quickly, I've been thinking about attention. Where is attention? How do you divide the attention? Eli was having a lot of struggles. She dropped out, coming back, and sort of the problem solving issues, and how do you divide attention moving from group to group. So that was just some of the background issues for keeping the trains running on time. The other thing was, I love the idea of topics, maybe an empathy cafe circle on topics, like just an exploration of how do you frame topics, what are good topics, the effective topics. That kind of came up. I thought that was really good topic in and of itself. Yeah, that's it.
Thanks, Edwin. And Shoshana, your thoughts and reflections after that practice session?
I feel like I really learned a lot from this practice. Am I muted?
No,
from this session. I had 3 trainees who were really kind and compassionate and patient. And I think that I learned a lot from them, and I was just really grateful to be part of that. And also the opportunity to I felt that they skillfully diffused the problems, and some of them, Jane particularly, when I was really misbehaving, she recognized that I wanted to be seen and told me that my face was beautiful because I was putting on makeup, used this as a mirror. And she said, "You have a beautiful face. You look lovely. And then she corrected me in such a kind way. And I think that's really nice to be able to lean into and to have empathy for the person who's acting out. So it was a great learning experience for me. Thank you for letting me be part of that.
Thank you. Thank you, one and all. Do we miss anybody for a quick?
Bill.
No, I did.
No way.
Oh, you did? Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so we just want to finish. Bill, I think we'll invite you to say some closing words for the day today.
Yeah, so first of all, whopping topic change, and just want to say, you want to know about Monsters from the Id? It's from the science fiction film Forbidden Planet that introduced Robbie the robot. Okay, now I've nerded out and it's out of my system, and I can move on. Okay, so anyway, so when we started, we spoke of creating a culture of empathy. We believe that participation in Empathy Circle naturally creates the conditions for healthy relationships and thereby a healthy society. The question that remains, however, is how might you take the experience of the Empathy Circle and the insights gained or learnings gained and share them with the world? We outlined some of the important values that such a culture would exemplify, putting empathy at the center of such a culture. Important component values would be care, openness, and mutuality. This is not meant as an exhaustive listing of all the values of a culture of empathy might entail, but core values that we see as promoting empathy. You might have other words or interpretations of these values, and that's fine. We've created a small culture of empathy in these sessions. And now, as a thought experiment, we ask you to think about this over the next week. We'd like to ask you to imagine what it would be like to walk down a street in such a place, a culture of empathy. What do you see? What values do you see already emerging? And how would it be different? So essentially, to summarize, we ask you to reflect on how an empathy circle practice fits in with the larger vision of creating a culture of empathy over the next week. And then we'll hear your thoughts in session 5. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so since Eli isn't here, she was going to do the next session. When we were in our planning meeting, Timothy, we were talking about how do we sort of end, one of these calls, and Timothy suggested to write a value that was met for today in the chat. So he's going to model it. He's going to put his in there to show us how it's done. Connection, exactly. So if you just put that in, that'll be just something to kind of see, to end with. And then, so next session is going to be about the empathy circles and how it fits into the larger culture of empathy. So you'll get a little bit of a debrief on that. And then we'll be doing a training debrief, just hearing sort of your feedback on the training. And it's also a good way to sort of integrate the learnings. We will be doing an empathy circle about what you learned, what you liked, what the challenges were for you. And we'll be sending out assignment. Our assignments again would be to fill out the feedback form so that Lou has something to speak to at the beginning of the next meeting, and to hold an empathy buddy call. You'll be paired with a new person, so keep an eye out for that. And also to hold an empathy circle if you can with family, friends, or community, and we'll report back. So that's it. We're right on the mark. I have exactly 2:30. I feel really good. The trains are running on time. So thanks everybody, and write down before you go the one value that you feel was met. Until next time.
Do the hands, do the jazz.
Do we just have one more training session?
One more session, and we have also next week is the reunion, so you can actually join the reunion session as well. That'll
Tuesday.
That'll be Tuesday. Yeah.
Thanks
week.
everyone.
Pacific, yeah.
Have a good week.
Wow, look at all those words in chat. They're beautiful. There's not one that has been repeated. Oh my gosh, I'm so touched. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
That might make a nice cloud.
Yeah,
That would. A nice word cloud.
That is interesting that none of them are being repeated.
Yeah.
I repeated, so
Oh, there's one.
I saw care, and I put care
Oh.
as well. So
Yeah.
I'm the black sheep.
Oh no. Black.
Bye, Kian.
I think